Speed, precision, legacy. The F1 movie isn't just about Formula One, it's about what happens when the roar of the engine meets the weight of the past and the hope for one last shot at redemption. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a fan of classic motorsports films like Rush or Le Mans, buckle up. Today, we're diving deep into F1, the latest film directed by Joseph Kosinski, the man behind Top Gun, Maverick. And yes, it stars Brad Pitt and a fresh talent, Damson Idris, in what might just be the most authentic racing film ever put to screen. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, ask yourself this. What would you do if you were given a second chance at greatness, but in a world that's moved on without you? That's exactly what F1 asks, and the answer is far more emotional than you might expect. Stick around, because later in the video, I'll tell you how real Formula One legends helped shape this film, and whether it's a true rival to Rush or just a flashy pretender. So let's start with the story. Brad Pitt plays Sonny Hayes, a retired Formula One driver from the 1990s. He's long out of the spotlight, bruised by past failures, and watching the sport he once ruled become faster, younger, and more corporate. But then, an old team owner comes calling. For many of us who've spent decades in a profession, there's a haunting question. Did I leave on my own terms? That's the wound this film digs into. Hayes is asked to come back, not as a star, but as a mentor to a young phenom played by Damson Idris. But let's be honest, anyone who's been great at something always feels the itch to prove they still have it. That's where the tension lies. The middle act is where Kosinski's direction shines. Using real F1 tracks, real cars, and even actual race weekends, including the British Grand Prix, he captures the intensity in a way that no green screen heavy movie ever could. And get this, Brad Pitt actually trained in F2 cars for the role. He's 60 years old and out there hitting apexes like a pro. Respect. But the soul of this movie, it's in the relationship between Hayes and Idris's character Joshua Pierce. It's not just mentor and protege, it's old school versus new school. And when the inevitable moment comes where both must race, you feel the conflict in your gut. There's a scene, no spoilers, but it takes place in the garage at night. Hayes reflects on the race that ended his career, and for any man who's ever lived with regrets, this hits hard. The final race is a masterpiece. Kosinski doesn't over-edit. He lets the cars breathe. The sound design, chef's kiss. You feel the gear shifts, the engine vibrations, the tire wear, and the emotional stakes are through the roof. Will Hayes accept his legacy? Will Joshua step out of his shadow? And most importantly, is greatness something we reclaim or something we pass on? F1 isn't just about racing. It's about aging, legacy, and relevance. It asks, when the world moves on, what's your final lap going to look like? Whether you're into cars or not, every man watching this film will see a piece of himself in Hayes. The struggle to let go, the need to prove yourself just one more time. So what's the final verdict? Pros, stunning, authentic race cinematography, strong performances from Pitt and Idris, emotional storytelling that goes beyond sports, real-world F1 collaboration that adds layers of realism. Cons, some pacing issues in the second act, a few predictable character arcs. I give F1 a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's not quite Rush, but it's miles ahead of most modern sports dramas. Kosinski has given us something rare, a film that respects both the sport and the men behind the wheel. If you've ever driven with the windows down just to hear the engine, if you've ever felt like the best version of yourself was still chasing one last win, then F1 is your kind of film. Let me know in the comments, would you watch F1 again in theaters? And where does it rank for you among racing movies? Rush, Ford v Ferrari, or this? If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive reviews, and share this video with a fellow racing fan who remembers the golden age of F1.